It's BBC Essex. Well, Essex has its first Muslim deputy lieutenant. A deputy lieutenant is the Queen's representative here in Essex. Sidra Naeem is a teacher, a member of the Mid-Essex Interfaith Forum, and a regular guest on BBC Essex Sunday Breakfast. So how does she feel to be the only non-white face among more than 60 others?
I got a letter first to tell me that I had been nominated. And it wasn't really asking me, it was actually a command.
You were told?
Yes, I was told, and I was very shocked at the time. And then after that, there was going to be a series of checks, which carried on for a good 6 to 8 weeks. I was told not to tell anybody, it was strictly confidential.
How difficult was it to not tell someone?
It was really difficult. Only my husband knew, basically, and my children, and I wasn't allowed to tell anybody else.
And they managed to keep it quiet?
They did. They had to. But telling the wider family was very, very difficult. I found it hard to keep it to myself.
And what was their reaction when they found out?
They were over the moon, delighted, surprised. My dad especially, I would say, was very, very happy for me because he came to England as a young student and he's always been for the Queen and he's always been into British society. He's always told us children to integrate into British society. We were always told to speak English as children.
Do you happen to know why you've received this particular honour?
There were 3 things mentioned in the letter that I got. One was knowledge on so many different subjects, honesty and trustworthiness. And the third one was integration into British society and all the voluntary work that I have been doing to help the white British English public.
By trade, you're a teacher?
I am. I'm a qualified teacher, but everything that I had to document down in my CV was nothing to do with my job. It was things that I'm unpaid for, voluntary work. In the end, there was 7 double pages of voluntary work, which I documented down. And that was just the major works. I'd forgotten about some of the minor voluntary work that I do.
Do you know who volunteered you for this role?
I do not know at all, but obviously it's somebody who recognised everything that I do.
And how do you feel being the only Muslim Deputy Lord Lieutenant?
The only Muslim and the only one of a different ethnicity, which I think is a brilliant breakthrough, actually. I feel delighted, I feel privileged, I feel humbled by the whole experience. I think that it's very nice that there is somebody there who can go to Commonwealth events and other events like citizenship events and things like that, which helps, I think, having somebody with a different ethnicity there.
And as a Muslim, what do you bring to the role?
I think definitely the understanding of different cultures, different faiths, diversity, equality, celebrating all our differences, looking at our similarities. To be honest with you, what's really interesting is that everything that all the other Deputy Lord Lieutenants have done, I've been doing the same as well. And it's really nice to be recognised.
And what's been the reaction of people to you?
I think definitely the Commonwealth event that I went to, ambassadors from all the Commonwealth countries, they came together for a big tea party. There was a very big reaction because the countries outside of England assume that a Deputy Lord Lieutenant would be white British English. And when some of those countries saw me, it was a big shock. And they couldn't believe it. And the conversations I had were very, very interesting. They were delighted, but they were very, very surprised.
As a Muslim, are there any things that you wouldn't do?
At the moment, to be very honest with you, I think the Lieutenancy Office is very good and they've looked at all my voluntary roles and allocated me exactly to something that I would have loved to have gone to anyway, to do with my faith and to do with ethnicity and other things. I have never ever come across anything where I have felt uncomfortable. But if I was, I would still integrate because I have been all the time. I don't think there's anywhere that I would say, no, I'm not going. But for example, if there was alcohol at a place, then I just would go for the non-alcoholic options. By this stage, I have already found my boundaries and I know without offending people what I can do and what I can't do.
How does the Muslim community feel about you being a Deputy Lord Lieutenant of Essex?
They are very happy on the whole. if they know what the role is about. So there are two types of Muslim community. Some of them who are British, educated, they will know exactly what the role entails and will know the value of it. So they are very, very proud. On the other hand, there are some Muslims who will not know. They wouldn't really understand what it is about, although they would recognise the Queen.
Do you think you're going to be giving a few talks to the Muslim communities?
I have done a few talks on my life story, on how I got to that role, and hopefully they are watching those life stories and understanding a little bit just how privileged I am and how privileged they should also be to have somebody from their community in this special role.
My experience of looking and being at events with Deputy Lord Lieutenants, the men wear like military uniform with sword. Is that the uniform you've been given?
For women, there's no uniform, which is good, but I dress up like a posh person, regal type of suits and things. I wear a fascinator in my headscarf. I could wear a hat if I wanted to, but because I wear a headscarf, I wear a fascinator there instead.
Is there any indicator who you are? Are you given a badge or anything?
Yes, we were given a badge, yes, so I wear that. It's the Tudor Rose, actually, because Deputy Lord Lieutenant started from Henry VIII, from those times and Tudor times. So the emblem is a beautiful rose, and it's gold, and it's very expensive, and it's very heavy.
Do people book you directly, or is the office says to you, could you cover these events?
It is both. So the Lord Lieutenant's office sometimes writes to me and asks me to go to certain events where they feel I would fit in terms of my voluntary experience and also in terms of my ethnicity and faith. But at the same time, I know so many people around Essex. By this stage, I know so many organisations. There has been at least 3 organisations who have got in touch with me on an individual basis and asked me to go to their events. But for that, I always write to the Lieutenancy office first to ask for permission so that they are aware.
You are representing the Queen, I believe. Is that right? When you appear somewhere in that role?
Yes, that is correct. I get a lot of respect.
Good evening and welcome everyone. I am Sidra Naeem, the Deputy Lord Lieutenant for the County of Essex, representing Her Majesty the Queen. I would like to welcome you all to the Essex Faith Covenant event. The purpose of the Essex Faith Covenant is a joint commitment to a shared set of principles that guide engagement between faith communities and public services. It aims to promote open, practical working and strengthen community cohesion. The Essex Faith Covenant now has over 30 signatories across public services and our faith communities, encompassing 8 district local authority areas, including Basildon, Braintree, Brentwood, Chelmsford, Colchester, Malden, Rochford and Uttlesford, and is always looking for more organisations to get involved. Tonight you will hear about a number of projects involving public services and faith groups working together to enhance and support our communities. There will also be the opportunity to hear from you on the challenges ahead and how, by continuing to work together, these can be addressed. Tonight you will hear about a number of projects involving public services and faith groups working together to enhance and support our communities. There will also be the opportunity to hear from you on the challenges ahead and how, by continuing to work together, these can be addressed. I would now like to introduce a short film demonstrating the impact of the Faith Covenant over the last 2 years.
Sometimes there's a standing ovation as well and a fanfig. That was again at that Commonwealth event where there was music as I walked in and red carpet and everybody stood up. We've had cake cutting, we've had ribbon cutting, very, very special roles, really, really well respected by everybody. I've met, obviously, Her Majesty the Queen. I've met Prince Charles and Camilla as well. Princess Anne.
What are they like?
I had lots of conversations with them and they were absolutely wonderful, warm, loving people. And I can honestly say they all seem to understand the background I was from. I think due to the Commonwealth link, they have good knowledge, I would say, of different people, different cultures, different faiths.
Recently, Prince Andrew's been in the news. Have you ever met Prince Andrew?
I have not met Prince Andrew yet.
What's your view about Prince Andrew and what he said?
I think it's completely his choice and it's up to him. He's a grown adult. He can do what he feels. I always feel people need to be who they are and what they are. And I think it's very good that he voiced his opinion and has publicly said what he wants to do. And I think people need to respect his wishes.
That's Sidra Naeem, Deputy Lieutenant of Essex, speaking to Andrew Merchant.